Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Easy update. This week, we're talking about joy.
Yay!
Things that bring us joy, things that help spread joy, I guess. I think that joy is a pure human experience. And joy to me is, it's a moment, right? It's a fleeting thing. And I don't think that you should strive for joy. Joy is just something that happens when it happens, and that's wonderful and beautiful. I think contentment is the thing you try to strive for, right? Even though, like, not having a goal is the best way to reach the goal, sort of, when it comes to that kind of a thing, I think. But, like, you know, contentment is like every second of the day I feel all right, and that's great. Joy is like that moment.
Yeah.
That, like, beautiful, like, you know, just, I don't know, that ray of sun. Yeah. What brings you joy, Don? I started with Hubert last time. I'm going to start with you this time.
Let's see. Well, many things bring me joy, but I think any time when I'm just lost in believing in something, maybe, or how can I put it? You know, if you watch it, it's the feeling of when you watch a movie and you just completely let suspend your disbelief and let yourself enjoy the movie that's there, or you're, playing a game and you're like getting into the fantasy of the game as if it's your own, reality in your mind, or you're just driving and imagining something. Just that sort of like being able to get lost in like believing in your imagination sort of deal. I don't know. It's hard to put into words.
I love that. Yeah.
When it feels like they're speaking to you, you know? Just like it's become a meme, but I'm just so into Gotham and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because
you are?
I get so much joy because it's the perfect storm of the like behind the scenes jolliness with the moment, the night it's on, where like you just feel everyone around the world kind of tuning in, and then just the plot. They're just you feel like they're just talking to you, and you're just part of something. That's just, I love it, and that doesn't happen very often with like certain TV shows, but just sometimes that moment of joy.
Yeah, I fully understand what you guys are saying. Like, I think film of the arts definitely brings me that feeling the most often, where I'm like in a film that's so well crafted and everything seems to just be happening, and you just are transported. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I mean, art across the board can do that, like paintings or music, and certainly writing and poetry. Like, to me, it's my favorite thing about like humanity is artistic creation. But like,
what separates us from the animals. That's what they said on The Walking Dead.
Oh, I thought it was Gotham.
I was like, oh yeah, Batman say that? Jim Gordon say that? But yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Like having, also, when you have, it's hard to like, I guess, describe unless I had a specific example, but many interactions you can have in life with someone that you'd never expect to have it with, that's like, where you either are like supportive of a complete stranger in some random moment, or you just, or you have like, or you like understand something really familiar with someone else that you would have assumed is so different from you, which just happens in everyday life at random moments. You know what I'm saying? Or you just share some kind of familiarity with someone that's not familiar, that's a complete stranger, and not just, personally to know them, but like someone that wouldn't assume you'd hang out with, maybe a totally different age, and just everything about the lifestyle you would assume is different. That happens a lot, and I always go away from those feeling really good, or like feel, when someone just like
holds the door open, then you just start chatting for a second. Like those little human interactions are the best. It's the best because we're all here and we're, talking about fear, like we're all in our own heads, and I feel like it's easy to get in this mentality when you're just so caught up in your day-to-day life, whatever it is, your obligations, your stresses, your fears. But like when you stop for a moment and interact with a complete stranger and just have a bond, a connection, even if it's for just a second, it feels so good. So good.
It's, a funny example of fear turning into joy. There was a person parking in one of our parking spots for a long time, and we were all like, oh man, we're gonna have to like confront this person eventually, whatever, like, and I was going down to my car, and I was parked next to, or I had parked in the spot that person usually parks in. They weren't there. I was like, okay, I headed them off at the pass.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is our spot, And I came down, and they were there. They were parking kind of next to it, and I was just like, I rolled the window down as I was about to leave, and then he was just like, he rolled his window down, and he was like, oh, are these your spots, And I was like, yeah, we just moved into the thing, and yeah, these are our spots. We've got these ones, And he was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I own this business over here, And like we got to talking, and he's like a super nice dude, and like it was fine. And he was just
So
like, oh, I'll just
jolly.
park over here. And I was like, oh, okay. Like this wasn't a thing at all. Like it was no problem.
How about when you're driving and someone gives you the wave?
Oh, sure.
That feeling is because if you've been to Los Angeles and you've been on the roads,
Not a lot of that down here.
it is extremely hostile. The Los Angeles roads are a dangerous and hostile place where nobody cares about your feelings and your well-being.
It is Mad Max out here.
It is. So whenever anyone signals or like gives you the smile and the wave,
or
it
just
is
doesn't go into the keep clear.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do actually
Feels
is when I'm coming up to like when anyone I can see they're like looking across the street, and I'll like stop, but I'll stop like way ahead, like giving them like 10 or 15 feet of room to walk, and then I'll just sit there like patiently and no rush whatsoever, and it makes people like so happy when they're like able to cross the street safely without having to rush or right up on them. But that actually reminded me of both of you saying that story reminded me of a funny story that happened a few weeks ago that brought me so much joy. I'd just forgotten about it until this moment. There's like right now so much negativity we take in with just like hearing about things in the world, and sometimes you forget, you just start to assume, oh, this is like a negative like humanity there's so much positivity in this world. The other day I'm walking home to my house, and I hear this distressed sound of like a cat crying in the distance, right? Like I can hear it, and there's this giant construction site happening, right? I'm almost home, right? Across from my street, this big apartment building under construction, and I can hear it coming from the little alleyway in there. It's like this dirt alleyway, and I'm just listening, and I can hear it far in the distance, and it's a cat, and it's crying. You can tell it's crying for help or something, right?
Yeah.
And I go, oh man, I'm so tired. And I was like, so close to my house. I could keep walking. And I'm like, I can't go inside knowing something. I got to at least try, right? All right. So I go to investigate to see where this cat is. And you can't get into the construction site because they have fences up, but you can hear it coming from somewhere in the darkness. This is at night.
This is also the start of like every horror movie, right? By the way.
Yeah.
And
just real Pet Cemetery. Here we go.
So I'm thinking like, man, this cat is like stuck in some excavation pit, or it's somewhere in this building, and it's like obviously it's crying, and there's no way for me to gain access to this building unless I get into the building next door. But to do that, I need to climb their fence, and I'm like, oh boy, this is getting complicated. I'm like, all right, let me see if I can
find. It's like a Silent Hill puzzle.
Let me see if I can find a neighbor here that'll let me into their building. And so then there's a woman who comes out of the building, and I tell her, oh, you think you can let me into your side gate because I hear a cat crying over there, and I want to see what's up. And she's like, oh. She's like, you hear that cat too? She was like, I was up in my apartment and I heard it, and I called my friend, and she's coming over here right now with like flashlights and all kinds of stuff because we're gonna go on a cat rescue mission. And we're like, and she's like, do you want to help us? I was like, yes, this is amazing. It gets better. We go through the apartment to the back to where we can like climb over the construction site fence, and we're looking over like how we can safely descend into this construction site. And this whole time we're hearing so anyway, long story short, we see the cat. It's trapped.
Long story long, Don.
Yeah,
this is
long
great.
story long.
No, keep going.
Right.
I mean,
the cat is stuck in the building somehow. Like we've seen
new
it. It's on
building.
the top floor, the 4th floor of the building. We can see it up there. Like somehow it's in there and it can't get out. It's like on the edge.
The construction
meowing.
site.
Yes. So we go over, we're looking for a way to access this building, and out of nowhere from the darkness in the construction zone, this other woman comes out, emerges with her friend, and they're holding a baby. And
a human baby?
Yes, and we're like, oh, hi, what are you doing? And they're like, we're looking for the cat. And we're like, oh my God. And then I go, long story long, 10 people have like randomly converged. And right before this is all happening, in my mind, when I was out there alone in front of the building, just hearing the cat, and I'm seeing cars pass, and I'm like, negative thoughts were starting to pop into my mind of like, man, I'm going to be trying to do this by myself. Like, what a world when people can just walk by and hear this cat crying. I start to think like that. Little do I know there's this giant rescue mission happening. All these strangers have just come out of the woodwork to rescue the cat.
Amazing.
They rescued the cat. It was a happy ending.
You all got up to it?
We got
Was
up
it
to the thing
okay?
and got it. Yeah, it's like there were painters in there, and somehow, apparently, they had locked all the doors, and somehow the stray cat was inside.
It like got into a window.
Yeah,
and they
it was
locked
some
the
weird
window
thing.
or something.
And so the cat was okay. It probably wasn't even as much danger as we thought. Who knows? It was scared. But just to see that whole random thing, the way it unfolded, of like, not just were there people that were willing to go out of their normal routine, out of their way to help, a little whatever, something that you think people would disregard, a cat. Yeah. And then just people not even questioning it, like, not questioning trespassing, because I was a little nervous. I was like, this is trespassing, like, blah, 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 thinking in my mind, these people did not care. I was like, I felt so
I feel like even
good.
if the cops had shown up
Right.
and you'd explained it, they would be
But,
like,
you don't want to,
okay.
like,
Cat
in Los
rescue
Angeles,
mission. Cat rescue.
like,
Yeah.
police going to shoot first or
yeah,
something.
the cops don't really mess
I'm
around.
sure they would have actually been, like, just as helpful if they did show up. But that was beautiful, man. That brought me so much joy to see. And that's, like, a reality around us. We often overlook,
Right.
but, like, there's so many really amazing people who are, like,
It's
willing
incredible.
to share, like, help and just
just little things.
go out of their routine to save a little kitten, whatever.
Yeah, that's an amazing story,
Yeah,
Don.
it was real
That's
nice. It made me
awesome.
feel so good, man. That night, you have no idea. I went home. I was like so happy, like explaining what happened, and like
Yeah.
I went to
So
bed
good.
so happy that
That's
night.
so
It was
my
really
God.
good. Yeah, it was nice.
That's really good. I'm trying to think if I have any stories like that. I don't think I have any
I
that
don't
good.
have
Like
any
that, like they're just
Too
a
good.
cat rescue. I mean, one time I saw a neighbor's house, water, like a bunch of water was coming out into their
Oh,
like
yeah.
carport.
Yeah.
And like I went up and I tried to knock and no one was there, and I was just like, what's going on? And I ended up going to their neighbor, and I was like, it was like 11 at night, and the guy came to the door like, and I'd gotten my roommate, and so we were like two people in the middle of the night, and like I think the dude was like, on edge, ready for trouble.
Yeah.
And luckily he had like a key. They were out of town and he had a key to their house, so he like went in there and like was able to like call them and like shut the water off and stuff. I don't know. They're like mansions, but like. Yeah, it was like a crazy kind of just like moment like that too.
I thought of one other story, but it's real short. It's just a funny anecdote.
Take it, go as long as you want,
when
Don.
when I first moved out of my apartment, or first moved out of my house when I was younger, and I moved into an apartment for the first time, and it was also in the evening, and I'm home. I just got home, and I'm home alone. And I'm just sitting on my couch, and there's like knocking on the door. I'm like, that's odd. So I go and I like look through the peephole. And there's this guy, and he looks pretty intimidating. I'm like, I don't know what this guy. And I was watching some gangster movie or something, some kind of like Yakuza type, movie. So I was like, just kind of looking. I was like, I don't recognize this guy, and he looks real weird. And I was like, maybe he must be at the wrong apartment. I was like trying to think in my head, what would he possibly be at this hour of night? This is a building where you couldn't just walk into and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm not going to answer
It's
my
like
door.
rare to get a knock on the door.
Right, you don't get a lot of
Yeah.
knocks in LA.
I'm not going to answer my
Very
door.
rare.
This guy's
I've
up
never
to
spoken to my neighbors. I've
Exactly.
lived in my apartment
I've
for
lived
8
in
years.
apartments
Yeah.
and not ever met my neighbors. It's weird, but you're assuming you don't know, right? It might be the worst. So I'm like, I'm not going to answer it. And he keeps knocking, and then he's knocking louder and like more aggressively, and I think, oh, this guy's really looking for trouble, whatever. Finally, I'm like, you know what? I have to face him and see what he wants. And I open up the door, and I'm like, hi, what's up? And he like didn't speak English, okay? And he said something, and he's pointed down, and I like look down, and my keys are in the door, and I like left my keys in the door right before I went into my apartment, and I felt like such a fool. I felt like so paranoid, and like, what is wrong with me that I wouldn't open the door for someone that's like, what I'm saying?
just
But that's
trying to
the-
help.
It's so easy to just start to assume the worst about things when it's really not the reality. There's a lot of really
And I mean, like,
people looking out for each
yeah,
other, which is
one
nice.
wants to be safe, but
Yeah, of
like,
course. yeah.
obviously there are exceptions to the rule, but
It's
like
easy to forget that part of it, though.
sometimes
It's not
there
as on
are
display,
good
yeah.
people in the world. Huber, anything brings you joy?
Yeah, I mean, last episode I was saying I don't like seeing, like, I can't sit next to someone at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Unless it's my wife.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's all very weird in my brain, right? It's all I'm not, it's not
You don't say.
it's not so easy, right? Because I love being in a movie theater with people.
Right.
but I just don't want them to be near me.
Right.
But my ultimate number one joy is holding my wife's hand in a movie theater when the lights go off.
Aw.
And she knows it. Like, it is like the number one joy every time, especially for a movie I've been waiting for, like some Marvel movie or something. Lights go off. She'll always give me like a little extra. right when it, 'cause she knows I live for that moment, dude. It's so satisfying. Just everyone watching the movie together. Sometimes I'll think like, you know, at certain points in the movie, you think like, we're all watching this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll think of like what.
Yeah.
It's like, is everyone else loving this right now?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's beautiful. That is a beautiful thought.
That
I mean, that's when you got going to the movies. That used to be one of my things I would like.
That magic.
Why I love the movies so much. I said this is one of the few activities on earth that you can get 200 people in the same room that can have completely different beliefs, opinions, everything, whatever, be completely different lifestyles, whether you're, you know, like lawful or unlawful, whatever you are, and they can all sit and be civil and laugh together and clap together and all this stuff is like such a magic feeling when you're in a packed theater right now people are quiet in theaters a lot, but people used to be pretty noisy. I remember when I was younger, it seemed like in horror movies
get rowdy,
stuff like that.
If you go on Thursday
There's a lot
night,
more clapping. yeah, horror movies still.
Snakes on a Plane was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that to me is one of the things I wanted to say that brings me so much joy is like things where you're enjoying something with a whole bunch of people. I mean, the examples that spring to my mind are like there's a presentation at the Griffith Observatory about kind of like the history of human innovation and science and like seeing the cosmos, and they do like a person narrating it live who's like walking around in the planetarium as this presentation is happening, and it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. And I've seen it a few times, but one time there was this woman doing it who had this amazing voice, sort of like Eartha Kitt, sort of a like older lady kind of thing. Sort of like Oracle from the Matrix sort of vibes kind of, but like
nice.
She just like, you know, and the whole thing is, I mean like the notion that like we come from stars and like we're trying to get back out to the stars and all this stuff to me is like really moving. But like, yeah, she said something like some moment where she's just like, our home in the cosmos, and like that's how she talked, and I was just like, oh, this is amazing. But like also like Disney World, seeing like Fantasmic or Illuminations at Epcot Center, like they're changing it now, they're sunsetting the current Illuminations thing, but it's about like unity and togetherness, and like you're standing around the World Showcase and like the different countries come up as like the music is like we go on, you know, like all about like human togetherness and like all these nations working together and like unity, and you're surrounded by like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people around this lake watching this thing, and
what
for
moment, dude.
for like 10 minutes,
jeez,
no one's trying to get to their car or, you know, like fight each other for a spot. Like, sure, you've got people who are talking sometimes or like this and that, and it's never a perfect situation, but like for split seconds in there, it just feels like humanity's going to be all right, and like everyone is on the same side and everything is fine, and like we've moved beyond all our petty BS, and like everything is just what it is, and it's such a beautiful feeling. And those moments just raise me up, you know. I had one moment after I watched the movie The Fountain in Chicago, and it had been a pretty turbulent period of my life, and I was going to walk home because I walked everywhere in Chicago, and my house is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles away, and I was just going to walk it, and it was summer, you know, whatever, and like a Friday night maybe, and pretty late. It was probably like 11 or midnight, and I was going to put my iPod in, you know, and I was like, nah, I won't. And I was walking, and it's hit me that like scientifically, more or less, like I was comprised of similar molecules and elements as like the parking meter or the sidewalk. And like this might sound like I was high, but I've never done drugs. But like I just had this weird moment where I realized like I was made of the same things as the rest of the universe. And I was like, even the stars and stuff, like it all was just connected. And I had this like crazy feeling where it felt like I could just like feel the whole universe moving. And like it was this weird, profound moment fairly fleeting, and I think it was just part of like the artistic expression of the movie The Fountain, and like how they used like microscopic things to symbolize to be like these giant nebulae and stuff in space, and just like something about that really vibed with me, and so yeah, I just was carrying this feeling of oneness with me, and it was just this insane, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came out of nowhere.
It's epic.
And yeah, it was so incredible. And like that moment changed me. Like I carried that, and I don't feel that way all the time, but it's just like
You can go back to that place.
I can think about it. Yeah, and like it's a similar thing to being in a movie theater with a bunch of people. And just like sharing in that moment, and or at Epcot Center and sharing in that moment, and like tears almost come, but they don't always, and it's just you're so happy, and like you laugh and it feels like you're crying, and yeah,
like dude, like a moment in like Harry Potter, you're all in the
Yeah,
theater,
yeah.
and like McGonagall, like Deathly Hallows, dude. I remember she like, No spoilers, but McGonagall gets in on it. Our entire theater is just like,
yeah.
McGonagall, just like, yes.
Well, and like
love that.
I want to mention, like, tied in with cinema, the power of music, because like in real life there are moments where I've been whatever and listening to just the right song. I don't listen to the radio really, because I like to just listen to albums in a run. I don't think I've turned on the radio in my car ever, but like the radio. But like if you pick the right thing for the right moment and you just feel it,
Yeah.
But movies are amazing for this. If the music is done well, like, oh man, it can move you so much. And there was a cue in Infinity War, when a certain music cue happens that like precedes a location change,
dude,
like if you know what I'm talking about.
Perfect.
And I was just like yeah. Just like we're going,
such an energy.
Yeah,
it's like the most energy I've ever felt. Dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because it like rises up before they cut,
dude. And the line is just like, I know a place, and the music comes in, and it's like, yeah. But yeah. Oh man.
I wasn't thinking Avengers, but I was thinking of Haywire.
Haywire, dude. That's a good movie.
The black and white, like, there's like a black and white like action scene where they have to go in and like rescue someone.
Yeah.
Dude, the music in that scene.
It makes it.
Pumps me
Music
up.
is so good.
Pumps me up.
The other
thing,
thing,
easy things, little things, beating a Souls boss.
Oh, absolutely. Although that is almost more like just relief than joy. Joy and relief are commingled, maybe.
Yeah, that's relief.
But for me, like the act of creation too, just like getting a project out there, just the being in the moment of like editing or creating something, singing something. I've been singing for many years, and like to me, singing for me is one of the purest ways to express like emotion. Like you can just like hurl emotion at people with singing, and like there's so much joy for me in that. Rock bands back in Chicago, or like out here with Easy Allies concert stuff, like that's amazing for me. Like I love those moments, like kind of just like black out and do it, and don't think about it, because like I'm terrified until I start. Even if it's just a video, like I said last time when we premiered Mysterious Monsters a week and a half ago, I was shaking when we were announcing it. I was like, and then as soon as it was like happening, I came down from that and I was like, oh, okay, woo. But yeah, and it's just so magical. And I mean, like, I mean, I don't want to get corny or whatever, but like, just Easy Allies is like such a dream. Like, like it's such a perfect life that we have right now, and I feel so lucky all the time. And it's like, we're not ever gonna get rich doing it, but like I don't really care about that, obviously. Like I'm so thrilled that we just get to kind of do what we love, and that people are supporting it. And like it really is, like I was saying to Bossman earlier today, I was like, I really do love this. And it feels so new and interesting for me to love a job, because this doesn't feel like a job, because we get to do what we want, and it feels like play almost all the time. Like obviously there are times where I'm just like, all right, like okay, But like even those times are better than any other job I've ever had.
Yeah. More rewarding for sure.
For sure, more rewarding.
Stressful though.
Oh well, it's a different kind of stress.
I'll never forget. Forget his name, but he worked at Game Trailers in the back. He was an editor. Don't remember his name. I loved him though. Okay. And he gave me the advice. He was like working in the machine is really nice because you can just hide.
Right.
And that was his MO, dude. He just like did his work.
I have a couple of guesses. I have a couple of guesses for who said
that. No, I know.
He's just like
so good.
He's like, it's so secure. It's just, I just do my work. And I like thought about that a lot. And, I've kind of like battled with it in my brain because there were like benefits working there.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Dental or whatever.
Made like twice what we make now.
Yeah, you make more and you just kind of go and you don't have to worry. You just go do your work, go home.
Yeah.
So it's like it's different now. But I was just thinking about that and it's like way less rewarding in that sense. But so much more secure, which is like an anxiety relief. Whereas this way, it's like more stressful because I care more.
Right.
It's like I'm not working for the man, I'm working for you. you know?
And ourselves. Like,
yeah. And when you get to personally, create, it has a different value for different people. But for me, being able to have your own creative expression here and there, wherever you can, is like you really can't put a value on it because it is so rewarding. Like you said, that joy you feel when you're creating, when you're singing, whatever, that feeling of like, writing something or putting something that you really, love, or even if you're collaborating with it, it's like, that brings happiness in life. And how much is happiness worth, right? A lot.
More than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is
and collaboration to me is more than what?
More than a dental plan.
Yeah. More than some money, more than and like collaboration too is a huge part of that. Like working together with people that you love and like to work with, and everything is coming together. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a thing of beauty, and we get to do that every day, weekly, and it's crazy. It's all because of you. Patreon.com.
Thank you.
Yeah, check out Patreon.com. No, this isn't a sales pitch. It's just a pitch. We're just talking.
Just a thank you.
But and I just feel so fortunate. And like life is hard. Life is, scary and weird and sad, and
it can be a grind, I feel like we all there needs to be we have holidays and stuff. But I feel like humans need a break.
Yeah.
We all need a vacation, dude. Everyone needs a month off just in the I'm not it sounds crazy, but
from the human experience.
When you just wake up and grind until you go to sleep or even your days off can be stressful, it's so much stress. I feel like we all just need a break.
Yeah.
I
agree.
If I was president, National Break Day or something.
I would bring back.
I'm watching too much anime, dude. They had a parent. They had a national on Boruto. It was a parent and child day, where everyone has to spend time with their kids and their parents. Just national holiday, dude. It got me thinking. I was like,
I'd bring in the siesta.
Yeah.
I'd be platforming on the siesta, bring in the afternoon break a couple hours every single day where you don't have, the whole world stops.
Yeah. Well, and it's different. It's fascinating to me to see how different countries handled, work schedule and stuff like that. Because America is pretty known for just grinded to the bone, working nonstop. You can't ever take time off.
And I grew up working in restaurants for over a decade.
Yeah.
Dude, I had to work Christmas, New Year's Eve. I worked on Thanksgiving once. This is common.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I've been working since I was 14, I think.
Yeah.
And kind of just cause it was what you did.
Yep. Yep. Since 15, dude. Holidays.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it's it taught me a work ethic, I suppose. Totally. And I've always been the kind of person where I can't relax until all my stuff is done.
Yeah.
So for better or worse, I'll run myself ragged trying to get everything done before I can allow myself to relax.
Yeah.
Which has.
But then when you get that moment.
Downside, but but then once you're there,
everything you get that
feels
day off.
Great. But yeah,
that's a joy. Do you save your favorite TV shows for like a time, or do you just watch them as soon as you get them?
Depends on the show, I guess.
Okay.
Like Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, you have
Game of
to.
Thrones, you have to
You have
watch
to.
when it's happening, or you will be spoiled.
Yeah.
And it's just the zeitgeist. Like I'm halfway through True Dicks season 3, and I was actually really liking it.
Nice.
True Dicks season 2 was the worst thing ever created by
Still
human
gotta
beings.
watch 3.
But yeah, 3 is actually super good so far. I hope
Nice.
it ends well. But
What about you, Don? Do you save your stuff for a nice day off?
Not necessarily, but I try to just squeeze it in wherever I can because there's no days off.
There's no days off.
I get
There's no
rid of
days
it.
off.
well, that's the thing with Easy Allies. Like there aren't
Yeah.
days off. Like even my days off, you know, like tomorrow, like
always in my head.
I'm more caught up, but like, you know, I got to go pick up T-shirts. Well, tomorrow now it's weeks ago for you guys, so who knows what happened? But like, yeah, I got to go pick up our T-shirts for the live event. I got to do my taxes. I got to, you know,
Yeah. Taxes.
that's a fear.
Yeah,
That
that was last week.
Wait, I was
joy!
feeling joy. I was so excited. I'd almost forgotten I got my taxes to look forward to. This year, I hear they're going to be better than ever. I can't wait to discover it.
oh boy. Fun fact: when you own your own business, you have to keep track of your own taxes.
Whoops.
And it just ends up being like, hey, you got to pay a lot of money
pay a lot.
once a year. Oh well, it's a good problem to have, I guess. These sound baffles bring me joy.
It's one of those. Sorry, I keep interrupting and
Oh,
carrying
no,
this on. It's one of those things where I'm like, who the hell would try to evade their taxes? Who does this?
Everyone wants
who
to
does
evade
this
their
crime?
taxes.
Who does this?
The worst thing.
They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. You're
thing-
gonna pay.
My
Like, I'm not messing with the tax man.
my economy teacher in high school was like, not doing your taxes is the only crime you can commit. Where if you do not pay your taxes, men with guns will come to your house eventually, not immediately. But
Eventually.
if you do refuse to pay your taxes, it's the only crime you can commit. Where men will come to your house with guns and take your property. It's like, always do your taxes. I'm like, okay.
That's yeah. I can't imagine. I mean, like I think about like this episode's about joy, not guilt, but like.
Oh.
I can't imagine committing a crime of any kind, really, because like I just wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Yeah.
I would just be so stressed and terrified all the time. I guess that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
It keeps me on the straight and narrow,
Yes.
but like
It means you're a good person.
I can't even watch like shows about like people who like good people who like accidentally kill someone or something. Like it makes me too
Yeah.
stressed.
Yeah.
I like empathize with characters too much. I'm just like, I feel like dirty just for you.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, that's been a discussion about joy. Anything else you guys wanted to say? I don't know. This is a weird one. We talked about joy. What gives you joy? What makes you happy? Tell us in the comments. I want to hear about it. Share some joy with someone.
That's it. Sharing joy with
sharing
others.
joy with others.
That's the best.
the holidays, hollandaise.
The best. Bonds.
Yeah, getting
Bonds.
along with
I'm all
people
about bonds.
Yeah.
feels real good.
Like
Feels
a
great.
hug. A hug is the ultimate number one joy.
There's
Number one. Putting it on number one. Don't at me.
There's science that shows that it's got like massive health benefits. Apparently, who
Hugs?
knows? Yeah,
Perfect.
it's like good for your psychology, which of course is good for your body.
yeah. Can you think of
Yeah.
anything more joyful than a hug? A challenge.
They're
anyone.
pretty good. They're pretty good.
Bring it in.
Bring it in.
Bring it in.
Bring it on in.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with something else. Who knows? All right. Bye.